Everybody, welcome to the Wildrose Way Podcast, where we talk about everything dogs, talk about clients' life stories, all kinds of cool people. I'm your host, Tom Smith at Wildrose Kennels in Oxford, Mississippi. And today we have one of my best friends on the podcast. Just don't tell him I said that. It's Nathan Miller, Major Retired.
That's right.
So, Nathan, you've been hanging out here, 2 years now? A little over 2 years?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Right
so where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, right outside of Mobile, Alabama. Back then it was just it wasn't a small town, but it wasn't a big town either. But I grew up on the outskirts of it, so it was kind of small town to us. Mom worked at a farm that we worked on, or nursery, I should say. So just your normal redneck kid stuff, I guess.
Grew up with dogs?
Yeah, grew up with dogs. I didn't get my first hunting dog until, what I would consider a real hunting dog. We had dogs that would go but nothing, nothing like what we see here. You know what I mean? But no, I got my first hunting dog, which it was a pointer, when I was in the military. And I was in Washington at the time, so we would go over to Central Washington, a place called Ellensburg, and hunt on the weekends. That was really my first experience hunting over a dog. We did a lot of kick up quail hunts on the farm and stuff like that, but that was about it.
So, was that tough having a dog in the military?
The first apartment that I left in the military, they kept my deposit because I wasn't supposed to have a dog, and I thought, they'll never know. Apparently they knew.
Yeah,
so.
apparently.
But no, I mean it was of course when you go overseas, anything at home doesn't matter all of a sudden, so it's no burden whatsoever when you're not there. But no, I mean it was an English setter, and I don't remember it being that difficult. Okay. Of course, I was also young and had a lot of energy then too, so that makes a big difference.
Not quite beat down.
That's right.
Sports in high school?
Yeah, I played baseball in high school. Nothing special. Of course, I went to a school that had a graduating class of 30. So I mean, I was probably one of the top 30 players to graduate. Yeah, so
I know the feeling. I was not a superstar athlete for sure. So then you graduate. You pretty much went straight in the military, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
And you went to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I usually don't spill everything. I was not a Navy SEAL, so
you don't have to write a book.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I spent some time on both the special operations side with Ranger Regiment and the regular Army. And it's just is what it is.
It's just the military. It's another day.
That's right.
Yep. So a lot of combat deployments. You were in the whole time we were at war because you joined in 2000.
Yeah, I did. I really don't ever recall a time whenever we weren't, training up with a purpose. Yeah. I guess you're always training with a purpose, but we knew what the mission set was.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's a just to let everybody know, he's got a pretty fun career when he talks about it. It's always the fun stuff you remember the most too.
The
miserable stuff
you don't tell war stories, but man, if there's a good story, a funny one, those are the ones that.
Or that I always used to. I told you about that guy, Mandatory Fun Day on Instagram. He always talks about trauma bonding.
Right.
Sleeping in the rain, humping the rucksack for 14 hours all night, and then getting an hour of sleep and getting back at it. So his trauma bonding little videos are pretty funny.
Yeah, that's definitely and that's one reason why you see guys that were in the military that never knew each other, like you and me, never knew each other before, get along just great because there's a common life of suck, I guess. That you've both been through.
Yep.
They both didn't look exactly the same, but they are the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like, we chewed a lot of the same dirt. Fort Benning.
that's right.
I've been to
Fort
Fort
Benning,
Lewis.
Fort
You never went to JRTC because you were always deployed.
No, I never went to. Yeah, I never did any of the big rotations through.
Through the training centers.
Yeah, because it seemed like I remember one time we had one that was scheduled, and we were all getting ready to go, and orders came down.
Yep,
you're going.
You're going somewhere else.
That's right. From what I hear, good for me.
Yeah, exactly. Because kind of like our friend group with Ish. Yeah, just all the same, like you said, embracing the suck.
Yeah,
back when we were younger men.
a little thinner and a little more.
Yeah, I had hair.
Yeah, it's not so much about what I had back then; it's what I didn't have back then. Mostly in this area, right around in here.
So you've been coming around about 2.5 years, become really good friends. You got an awesome wife.
Yeah, she's
Cindy. She's just awesome. Her and Tina hit it off great, which is great. And then we've got the madman, David.
He's gonna be something. It's been fun watching him grow up. So,
yeah.
Hopefully he grows up to be a good person. So
SF.
Kind of the goal there.
He's gonna be SF.
Not if he wants to live. not if he wants to come to Christmas.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen how much he's grown in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
it's just crazy how fast they grow and stuff. These little kids are like, holy cow! I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and that we were in Alaska together, and he's got like 4 grandkids now.
That's crazy.
I remember when your daughter was like this tall, It was like, but that was also the early 90s, so it's been a minute.
One of my most favorite stories about David is actually out here. And it's a testament to how kids will listen to anybody but their father. And he decided one day, he was like, Dad, I want to go train dogs with you. I was like, all right, let's go. So we get out here, and it's 10 minutes into it. And I told him, look, put the bumper over there, do this, do that. And he's like, just not paying me. Yeah, I mean, he's paying attention, but you can tell like there's more question marks on his face. Like really, really. And then he does it. I'm like, you didn't do it right. So then he just gets fed up with me. And he's like, well, I'm going to go somewhere else. Well, Ryan was walking by, and he's like, I'm going to go hang out with Ryan. I look over, Ryan's telling that kid the exact same thing I told him to do. And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, so I started to let Ryan just raise him.
Woo, you're pushing the limits there. But yeah, same thing. Like Tina had never shot a shotgun. And one thing a guy told me a long time ago, a shooting instructor says, do not try to teach your wife to shoot.
Oh, absolutely.
Have somebody else do it because you're going to do it wrong. And so I had Kirby help her and stuff. And within a couple of weeks, she was knocking quail down, pheasants down. And she likes it better because you don't have to be quiet and sit there. You're not wet in the duck blind. It's not super cold. It's not getting up in the middle of the night. So she likes the gentleman's hunting. Start about 9.
They also get to go clothes shopping and all of that type of stuff.
Yes, she does. Yeah. She has like the new wardrobe for the English attire, for the upland attire. Yeah. So that never hurts when you get to take them shopping. So you ended up here. How did you end up here for handler's course with Maggie?
Of course, Maggie's obviously very small for a lab. Mostly because she's not one. And we were living where we live now, which is in Tupelo. And the very first time I ever came out here, I bought Maggie, and we had moved here, but I hadn't picked Maggie up yet.
Okay.
Still had to do the puppy picking and all of that. So literally 3 days after they drop our stuff off here in Tupelo, I popped smoke and was like, I got to go get a dog. And left my mother-in-law and my wife to put the house together. And
making points.
Oh man, I was telling you, I was I was extra nice for several weeks after that, but so I went and got her, and they said, "Are you gonna bring her back for training?" And I was like, "I should have got a lot of time on my hands. I think I'm gonna try it myself." And so I came back, and I needed a Cato board because I had a video on how to place train.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "We'll start there." And so I watched the video, and then I realized, well, I don't have any place boards. So of course I got online and I started looking at place boards. Now, keep in mind, I went to school at Ole Miss,
Mm-hmm.
so I knew of Wildrose, and I remember, hey, there's a really big dog training, very well known around here. I just got to look it up. I couldn't remember what Wildrose was the name, but sure enough, I got to looking and I found it. And then, of course, everything you have in the store, and y'all had Cato boards. So the first time right there. So the first time I came up here was to buy a Cato board.
Okay.
And when I was in here, Grant was working,
Mm-hmm.
and he said something about a handler's course, because I want to say this was in like early February time frame, maybe even late January. I guess it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
He said something about a handler's course in March, and I was like, well, I'll look into that. And of course, I had no idea on what to expect, and I went ahead and signed up for it. I went ahead and I was like, well, if I do beginner, surely I can just go straight into advanced, because I didn't have a clue, right? And,
with Maggie, who was how old at the time? 4 months?
4 months old, yeah. Yeah, because I remember I showed up at Handler's course, and they're like, she got shots? And I was like, barely. But yeah, so that was kind of, the short version on, or maybe the long version on how I wound up at Handler's course.
Yeah, so Maggie is an English cocker from our good friend Jay Lowry at Rye Glen Gun Dogs, and I love that little dog. Her personality, just everything about her, she's just so much fun.
Oh yeah, the thing, she just imagine a dog that's always smiling.
Yes,
that's her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
that's the only way I know how to describe it.
I started talking about, when I do puppy picking, we always talk about dogs live in the moment.
Yes.
They're not thinking about checking email, paying the gas bill, the electric bill. They're not thinking about any of that. They're in the moment. And we need to match that mindset in training. Put your phone in your pocket, pay attention to your dog. And every day these dogs wake up, it's the greatest day of their life.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going hunting today. Greatest day of my life. Going fishing today. Greatest day of my life. We're going to lay on the couch and watch Hallmark movies all day. Greatest day of my life. They just don't care. They live in the moment. They want to be with you and do stuff with you. And, I'm trying to, as humans, we can be very negative.
That's right.
I'm trying to change my every day when I get up to match that kind of mindset, because, got a beautiful property.
Oh, absolutely.
Got great friends. Got a great family.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do I need to wake up grumpy?
That's right. But yet we still seem to manage to do it.
Yes, we do. Because
thank God for the women we married to remind us that we have nothing to be grumpy about.
Correct.
Mostly because we married them.
Correct. Yep. And they're not wrong.
They're not. No, they're not.
Going back to digging yourself a hole, I got to tell this story.
This could be one of many.
This is a funny one. So we had our friend Dawson come in, and his friend from South Carolina, and Nathan bought some quail and some pheasants and set up this hunt on his property. And it's Saturday morning, and we're getting ready to go hunting. And Cindy's, she's got her attire on and everything, and we're going out. She goes, well, I just want to thank Nathan for setting this hunt up on our 10th anniversary day. So that was a long day for you, with us teasing you. And Cindy, I'm sure she's got her pound of flesh since then. But that was hilarious. But man, that was a blast.
It was, and I'm lucky she didn't shoot me while we were out there.
I noticed you stayed right next to her.
Yeah, I wasn't
out in front of her.
No.
You gotta.
It couldn't have been mad at her if she did it.
True. That situational awareness. Where's Cindy? She's got a little gun. But yeah, that was pretty funny. That was a fun weekend. So you get Maggie, you show up here at Handlers. You got your Rye Glen hoodie on.
I did. I sure did.
Right
Well, so you know, so I almost didn't come, and I'll tell you why. Actually, I had just finished tuna fishing down in the Gulf and Gulf of America now.
Gulf of America.
That's right. And but I was tuna fishing, and you know, if you spend a couple days on the water, kind of beat up, and I was like, I was not feeling it, and I bring that up because it'll matter in a little while. But I mean, I was not feeling it. Part of the reason why I showed up in hoodie and probably the rattiest pair of jeans I had, I don't know. But I was like, man, I'm not feeling this, you know. But yeah, but I did manage. I made it though.
Yep. And by the end of the weekend, we had you decked out in all kinds of Wildrose attire.
Y'all were taking pictures and sending them to Jay.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but it was funny. I saw you pulling in because you're very quiet that first day, and at the end of the day, I saw your license plate, and I asked you about, hey, were you in regiment? And that's how it all started. It became just, as Cindy would say, our bromance.
That's right.
Thank you, Cindy. So you get Maggie. She trained off really, really well. I mean, smart and wants to learn and wants to do good things.
Well, and that's where I was kind of going with that. I wasn't feeling it, but by the end, I was sold hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
But the first 2 days, which was beginner's course, I was able to work with Maggie. But then you go into advanced course, and as much as I can't believe it, a 4-month-old dog just wasn't going to cut it. So you loaned me Ronnie. And when I saw what Ronnie could do, it was just point click with him. And that's whenever I said, that's what I want.
Yep.
And y'all said you should come back anytime, and y'all regretted it ever since.
Pretty much. Yeah, Ronnie, he's like driving a Ferrari, man.
Oh, man.
He's just...
point click.
Yeah, he's just so awesome. You don't even know he's in the duck blind. You don't even know he's in the house. I mean, he's just so quiet, but all you got to do is just Ronnie, and he just straight lines it. So he's been a really good addition to
I remember I was running him, and of course, no one knew that I was running your dog. And that was the best part. But I remember it was the very last event that we were doing for the whole course, and and everybody rotates through, which is one of the things, because I've been to since then I've been to some other courses, and what I really like about handlers course is how much hands-on it is. It is not death by PowerPoint. You're not going to come in here and just get talked to, whereas so many other seminars or courses, they just talk to you, and the truth is we check out 30 minutes into it, or unless you're me, 7 minutes into it. I got attention span of a gnat.
Squirrel.
That's exactly right. So, but on that, you get basically a quick morning. Hey, this is kind of, remember this. Here's the book, and cover a little part in the book, which doesn't take 10, 15 minutes, and then you're hands on after that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit after lunch, hands on after that again, and it's. But back to the story real quick. So I had Ronnie, and no one knew that Ronnie, but we were on the very last as we rotated through what would have been my last one, which was down by the pond in front of your house. And it was basically a 180, one out in front of you, then turn them and send them, but they had to go up over the levee so you couldn't see it. And so we had the docking in the water and turned, I set Ronnie, and it was, I don't know, about 3:00 feeding time.
Yep.
And Ronnie never came back.
He went to his pen.
I was like, somebody goes, Ronnie's going to get supper.
I don't remember that. Oh, man, they know exactly what time feeding time is.
Yeah. But he came back. I recalled him. That's what I mean, point and click. Recalled him. He came back, picked the bumper up, came right back. He just, he knew he was hungry, and it was feeding time.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And that was pretty... That was a good course. You know what I modeled how we do that after? Round robin EIB.
Yeah, that's
exactly what I modeled that after.
That makes perfect sense.
Yep. Because it was like, that worked great. For those of you who don't know, EIB is Expert Infantryman's Badge. it's basically a round robin training, and then you get tested, and you got to get them all right to get your EIB.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you do. I think you can miss
you
two.
Two retests.
Because I remember if you miss two right out the gate, you're a blade runner the whole time. You got to be perfect after that. And then, that's the only, because I always remember they made a big deal about that.
But that's what I modeled it after, because I was like, you're getting different scenarios at each place you go.
Yeah.
And over the course of the days, the complexity and distractions, get amped up.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we talked about the stimulus package, you have complexity and you have the stimulus, distractions, all that stuff. You train them separate, and then you bring them all together. And that last day, you pretty much got it all together, the whole stimulus package.
Absolutely.
So, and one thing I like about it, we used to do it all in one group, but back then there was like 14 of us.
Yeah.
And now with, in 2021 or 22, we had 65 participants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was coming right out of COVID. Everybody wanted to get out. So we were feeding about 95 people on the grounds for 4 days straight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was exhausted at the end of those 4 days. But we used to break it up into what we considered skill level of handler and dog, like A, B, C, D or something like that. Well, some of the dogs that weren't quite as experienced or had the level of training and the handlers weren't seeing really good dogs so I started mixing them up.
That makes a lot of sense, so that you can kind of learn from one another.
Correct.
As long as from the trainer that's on the...
Correct.
Yeah.
Because you've got all guys who have great dogs, they're still going to learn stuff. But if I'm a mediocre handler, not mediocre, more inexperienced handler.
Right.
I'm watching people make the same mistakes I do versus seeing, that other dog that's just like Ronnie.
Point
like
click.
a Ronnie, yeah.
Well, and it's like I was saying, everybody was like, man, that dog's amazing. I was like, I know, I trained him myself.
How long you been training? About 2 months.
Well, what is it? 3 hours. It's just a natural.
So you've progressed now. You've got some Wildrose dogs. So you're kind of running them together, which is a blast to run the labs and cockers together.
Man. It is. It's putting two skill sets that are, I shouldn't say skill sets, but because I guess their skill sets are the same as far as what you've taught them, but their ability to do things is,
their natural instinct.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you're not going to beat a lab on a straight line.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're not going to beat a cocker on a quarter.
Nope.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat one of y'all's British labs on steadiness. I don't care. I mean, it's just, that's what I mean. Their natural abilities complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
big
well,
time.
especially whenever, and I do a lot of guiding,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so cool because at one point, and talking about totally blowing clients' minds, that because especially one that goes to a lot of different area,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a lot of guided hunts, they get a lot of the same, which is usually they get a pointer that'll point, and then it'll also flush, and then it'll also, or it doesn't flush, and you get the guide walking in there and kicking stuff up, or they have the whip. And I got some bad news for you. I'm not walking in front of your barrel. I don't know. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
So and then you get the pointer that does the typical run out there. Now everybody's going to tell you their dog brings it back. That's a lie. I just call it like it is. That dog gets halfway back, drops that bird and squirrel, and it's out trying to point again. That's just the reality.
Then you have to go find the bird.
Go find the bird. But I remember one of my early hunts. I had Wildrose Delta, I had Maggie, and my setter that was pointing, and it was like it was so perfect because pointer would point, Maggie would go in, bird would get up, shoot the bird down, and then send Delta to go get the bird. I mean, it was like, and it makes you feel really good as a guy when they're like, wow, you're controlling all three of these
Yep.
dogs. And I'm like, yeah, you weren't there whenever we were training them. And I was ready to
Exactly.
pull my hair out.
Yeah. It's behind the scenes work
That's right.
that pays the bills. So now, how many cockers are you training right now?
See, right now, 1, 2, 3 that are one belongs to a client. Then I have 2 that are ready, that are getting ready to go, but one broke its leg, unfortunately. So that's I'm not 100% sure what the outcome on that's going. I mean, we're 100% confident that the dog's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll sell the dog or not.
Yeah.
And part of that is I don't have to sell the dog, and he may just turn into a guide dog. But we're just not.
Yeah.
We're just going to.
Yeah. I mean, he just got out of he was all wrapped up.
Oh,
for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
or like
completely
that.
wrapped.
And now he's starting to be able to.
Yeah, people were driving by the house asking how he lost his leg. I'm like, he ain't lost it. It's just wrapped up.
I mean, they had that thing. It looked like he was missing a leg.
Oh, yeah.
So,
people were asking what happened.
Yeah, but he's a cute little thing. Doc, right?
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah. And then Harper with that snow goose at Handler's Course was just amazing. That little bitty cocker just hammering that snow goose and bringing it back.
I'll tell you, Harper, Harper was one of Jay's dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It was an import for Jay. And so when I got Harper and I had no relationship. And this is where I truly learned the importance of a relationship with your dog. Harper was, I guess say, she was already trained. And I'm real big on the way it's done here at Wildrose. I want my cockers to take that straight line and not stop until I hit my whistle. And I want to make sure they have that first before we ever look at quartering. And maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I feel like they naturally quarter so much that I want to put that off and teach them what's unnatural first, so that's kind of, that becomes more of a natural, maybe a little later on, whenever you start teaching them to quarter. Maybe they don't, whatever they learn as a puppy sticks with them forever. So if we can teach them to take straight lines, we're not fighting it later on.
Yeah, you're forming that, like you said, that kind of a non-natural, just like a Labrador. Retrieving is instinct. Bringing it back's man-made. So, and you're doing that as a young age, like 6 weeks, 6 months, everything you put in is there forever, right? So you're putting in those really good foundational behaviors, and then the quartering is going to come pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
But they're still going to know that lining in the back of their head, because just like my dogs, they're never in a crate hardly. But I can open the door and tell them to kennel, and they walk right in because we did it so much when they were young. I kind of like that philosophy, what you're doing, because the quartering is going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, they come
you may
out
have
the
to
womb
tweak it a
going
little
back
bit
and
stuff
forth,
like that, but that natural instinct's there, but that lining for a cocker is not.
No, it is not.
So once you put that in as a young age, then you can mix it all together when they get older.
That's right. And Harper was the big, because I get, and I don't know all the history, but obviously I'm assuming that she was first trained overseas in England.
Probably, yeah.
Anyhow, so she had her own style, and that was I quarter, but anything over about 25 yards. Not that she couldn't get it, but if she didn't mark it, she wasn't. She would go about 20 yards, and then it was left, right. I'm hunting now.
Yep.
Even though the bird's laying at 40 yards. And it takes a little while for a cocker to go back and forth, to cover 2 miles just to go 40 yards.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the big thing with Harper was, hey, you kind of we've got to kind of, you're already an older dog and you're setting your ways and you've done it for 6-7 years. Now I want you to learn how I want you to do it. And there was some, she taught me a lot.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Man, every dog teaches you something, but you're literally teaching an old dog new tricks.
New tricks, yeah.
Something that she had never learned, and at that age, with everything else being so entrenched behavior, it's going to take a little more. It's got to be a little more patient, a little more reps.
Well, you know, I knew I had a problem. I say a problem, it wasn't a problem, just something I had to work on whenever she got in the water for the first time. Of course, I never seen her in the water, and she loved it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Dog loves water. Then she started quartering in the water. And I was like, we got a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, we got a little bit of work to do here. A little bit of work to do here. But yeah, because she took that, what was that, about 110 yards to that snow goose from where we were doing
You know, honestly, I didn't see that one.
Oh, that's right. Cindy was working.
Yeah, my wife was.
Yeah, it was, well, we were over almost by the blind on the bass pond, and it was in Mike's front, basically right in front of his house. So that's a solid 110, 120 yards. And she just straight lined it, picked that big old snow goose and brought it straight back.
Yeah, she is not one to she's bringing something. Yeah. All dogs crazy. I think I was telling you this the other day about Maggie going in the woods, couldn't find the tennis box that had it, got stuck in a tree. I put 3 dogs in there to find it. And they never found it. But you know, she started bringing back bottles and Coke cans. Just tell you how filthy my property is.
Well, you haven't owned it that long. It's still a work in progress.
Well, you know, I get that slough that runs down there, and it just brings everything in. And that's where she went. She was going down in there, and she bring back old beer cans and bottles. And
Yep, Danny
but
brought
that's
me back.
you know, she ain't giving up on it.
Yeah, that they're just so much fun to watch. So you've been doing some guiding down at Prairie Wildlife, which is a fantastic facility. Mr. Jimmy, he's spared no expense.
Exactly.
And you've got a Westervelt.
That's right.
Which is, the history there is so amazing. It's been around. I can't remember how many. It's the 50s or 40s or something. A great group of guys down there. We've been doing stuff with them for like 17 years.
Yeah, and I haven't grown up in Alabama, and my dad doing a lot of deer hunting. Westervelt is very well known amongst turkey and deer hunting. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know about they do quail hunting and whatnot down there as well.
Quail chucker.
Yeah,
pheasant shoots.
You kind of got to get your window there, because they're not gonna, you know, have you out there doing that while they're trying to turkey hunt. But you know, they do, and you know, it's just got a lot of history. Very well known place amongst especially deer hunters. Yeah. And I remember hearing these names like, I don't know, Ben Rogers, or I may even be getting the name wrong, but all these people I grew up hearing about, these biologists that were just super well known. And then I remember I went into Westervelt. The first time I ever went to Westervelt was with y'all. Okay. And so I remember I walked in, and it was like all these guys that I've heard of in the past, that they were all on the wall, you know,
in the hallways.
Yeah, this was the biologist here. And I'm like, oh. So yeah, a lot of history there. And of course you go over to Prairie, and what you get there is a whole lot. You get the story behind the conservation, mm-hmm. specifically to bird or to upland hunting, and everything Mr. Jimmy has done to conserve quail. You know, just that story is pretty phenomenal.
Just reading the stories of trying to bring back the wild quail population. I know Garden and Gun did a big article on it a year or two ago, and you better have deep pockets. I mean, real, like Grand Canyon deep, because the stuff you have to do, and you just have to keep restocking and the burning and the predator control, and it's just it's a more than a full-time job to try to bring back a wild population of quail.
Oh, absolutely, especially when you live in an area that's got hawks.
Yep.
That's just they tear them up.
When I was guiding at Wilson, by the time I put the last bird out, the hawks were already circling.
I had one. I remember we were out and about. And one got up and flew. A quail did. I guess we spooked or whatever, and a hawk in midair came down and snagged that sucker.
Yeah, they are apex predators for sure.
Absolutely.
But Mike said when he was a kid, this 425, he said by the time they go a mile, they'd have a limit of quail.
I have no doubt. So the other day, it's been it's probably been 4 months ago. You know, I turned right there on the 425, and a covey came out of that first field, across the road right there in front of me.
Yep, I've seen them cross before, and we I know last year I haven't been messing with the backfield much this year, but we had about 15 or 20 covey back there, and I told the staff, said they are off limits. Do not shoot my quail.
That's right. That's exactly.
They are. Let them do what they do. But
I love to hear them talk, man. Like especially like I'll go out at prairie late in the evening when we have an evening hunt, and you're coming back in, and if you can get everybody to be quiet, just listening to them talk to each other.
Trying to covey up for the evening. Yep. It's cool the way they make their little circle with all facing out. And when they sleep at night.
Well, what's
their little patrol base.
That's exactly what they do. And I had never, of course, I'd read about it and heard about it. But, it's hard to see it in the wild because, wild, you get that close to see it. They're getting up.
Yeah.
But it was neat because I had a whole bunch in the pen, and I came in and it was cold that morning, and I looked over in the pen, and every one of them, I probably had 150 in the pen, and they had the biggest covey. All of them were, and just like you said, all of them were in a big circle. They were facing out.
Yep.
Just like as if though they were in the wild.
That's one of the things I really like out here is watching. Like we have all the baby geese every year. Yeah. It's just, they come out of the egg and they're swimming.
No, it's crazy.
Just like, these tiny little cute, they're still in the cute phase before they get in the gray, ugly phase. But and they walk those little geese all over this property. Yeah. It's a long way from the finger pond to my pond especially for a little gosling this
or
tall.
Even me. Sometimes I'm like, I hope somebody drives by on that side.
Exactly. But just the nature is so interesting.
Oh,
how fawns are born and they're walking within 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas the human babies,
we're helpless
for a long time.
My 8-year-old still. He can walk and all that, obviously, but he still needs us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He can't survive on his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'd probably try.
Yeah.
So you mentioned him a while ago. Let's talk about Vic for a minute. So Vic has never been a bird hunter. He's always deer hunting.
No, he's always been real big into deer hunting. He'd occasionally, and it was more of a go hang out with the guys type of deal, dove hunting and stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as, like me, I look forward to the 1st of September.
Yeah.
I love that the first few weeks of dove season whenever they're coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But him, it's just always been, if it involved birds, it was because he got an invite from somebody and had nothing better to do.
He not like us. He's not going to drive all the place chasing birds.
That's exactly right.
If it's 5 miles down the road at a buddy's place,
exactly.
I'll go shoot some doves.
That's right. Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
There's a whole lot of beer involved. Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't really have any birds where I grew up. It was squirrel hunting, rabbit, and deer.
Yeah.
So we had beagles and all that. And I do miss a good rabbit hunt. Watching those beagles work and hearing them, I do miss a good rabbit hunt. And then the duck population wasn't great then. That's when we still had the points and all that stuff. So I didn't grow up duck hunting.
Right.
Didn't start duck hunting until 1994, me and my buddy in Alaska.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right before I left there. Season opens early up there, like September 1st or something.
Yeah, of course it's already freezing up there by September.
Depends on the year or the day. But my buddy had started duck hunting back home, so me and Joe Briette, he's like, let's go duck hunting, So we did. We shot a couple ducks. We thought we're good, man. We're good. And then I went home on PCS leave, so we hunted a bunch of ducks there around. We go out and kill 3 or 4 ducks and thinking we're freaking John Stevens, right? Or Butch over there at R&T. But it's fun, and I've gotten to the point now where, like when I came over with you and Cindy and Dawson and his friend, I didn't carry a gun. Remember?
No, you sure didn't.
I just had a dog.
Yeah,
that's all I cared about. I'll let y'all shoot all the birds. I'm good.
I tell you, as weird as it, and I talk to a lot of different people about how they go about their bird hunting. Some people are like, "Look, man, I love the duck hunt, and I just soon be right here where I'm at duck hunting." You know, hey, I'm glad for those people because that means the interstate's not as jammed. Me, I like chasing birds.
Yeah.
I like going crisscrossing across the country. And one, because I like seeing, you know, God's, you know, what he made. I think it's so neat to go to the mountains,
Yeah.
and just get to hunt in the mountains or in the plains or just crisscrossing the country and seeing all the different sights, you know. So I love chasing birds all over the country.
Yeah, some of those sunrises out there at Zeke's in North Dakota are just unbelievable.
It's I tell you, that is that place is, yeah. I mean,
it's pretty special.
It's special. Yeah, it's very. You know, and of course this year I've got that hunt that I'm going to do, on the Snake River.
Yeah,
and you know, that's going to kind of be I guess you'd call it the sheep hunting of bird.
It sounds like it. What you're going to be dealing with.
Mountains,
yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to be, you know, that I don't know what the hunting's going to be like. It you may kill one, you may kill none, you may get your limit every day. I don't know, but I know that you get to go see that part of the country, and that, you know, we're going to be floating down the Snake River, fly
with
fishing.
your dogs.
Oh yeah. You know, so it's going to be.
It's going to be pretty epic.
Yeah.
And that's one of the fun things. So I go out every August to Colorado to see Mike and Kathy for a week while they're out there, and that's my little respite from the August Mississippi heat. Because I remember I left there one time and it was 36 degrees and got home, it was 96. Oh. It was like, I'm thinking about turning back around. Oh. But it's just our friend's place is just between two kind of mountain ranges with a trout-filled creek running through it. You'll see the elk grazing. You'll see the bighorn sheep. Biggie the bear. You'll see him every now and then. The bear got into our client's house.
Oh, really?
Yes. All it took was one of those white dog food containers, carried up the hill, got the lid off, ate all the food, and left it. And they went and found it. And they were still using it. Bear didn't even tear it up. It just unscrewed it.
Unscrewed it. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And we were training one day and we found a big old patch of wild raspberries. Me and Mike just sat there, just like Tic Tacs, you know. So just finding fun stuff like that out there while you're traveling, and just there's so much to see.
Yeah.
You know, me and the wife talked about, you know, going to Rome, or I said I haven't completed my list in the U.S. yet.
And I don't know if anyone the U.S. is such a big place. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it's, and I've been fortunate enough being in the military and being from where I'm from, but being stationed a completely opposite part of the country to be able to make that drive.
Yeah.
So, and take so many different routes, and, you know, from the Grand Canyon to, you know, some of the places that, you know, and everybody knows about Vail, Breckenridge, and all these other, you know, big tourist areas. But, you know, like I go to places like Utah, and Utah's so underrated. It's a phenomenal, you know, just the scenery, and, you know, and that the backcountry, and some of those mountainous places we're talking all of the Rockies, right? From Colorado to Washington. It's so neat because, you know, here on the east, you know, in the east, I guess you could say, I don't know, Mississippi. Some people consider Mississippi, what are they? South? Yeah, but you know, there's the population so high. There's really nowhere you can go where someone else hasn't been.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone's been there.
Yeah.
Some get, and the odds are you can see the traces of them being there. Whereas you go to places out west, and especially if you're doing a lot of hunting where you have to get off the beaten path, there's a highly, you know, there's a big possibility you're standing where no one else has ever stood before. And it's cool just to kind of get in that mindset.
Being a history major, I love the East Coast for like the Revolutionary War history and stuff like that. Then, of course, all the way all over from the Civil War, all that history from Gettysburg to just over here,
Shiloh,
yeah. And then you've got down at Vicksburg, all the big parks and just the history of it and how it's laid out, and the history is a little different out west.
It is
because it took so long to settle it, but it was weird. I was staying in a hotel in Old Town, San Diego, and we're walking along, and I look down, I see these brass discs in the sidewalk or in the street. It said grave marker.
In the street.
Yeah.
Because they built a street over it.
Yeah, and they found them later. They were doing, the ground penetrating radar, and they put a little marker there.
That's cool.
It was like, that's pretty wild, but that was cool. The Old Town San Diego, it was crazy. We would leave our apartment, and it might be 95, and we get to Old Town.
Yes.
You better have a sweatshirt.
Yes.
Right off the ocean.
Ocean, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that before. When, of course, I was living in Washington. I drove down, 101?
Something like that.
The highway. So I drove down it, and I remember I come through a place called Eureka right there in North California. And we were driving along, and we went to the Redwood Forest or whatever it is. And so we finished up, and the quickest way back was to cut back across. And this was in July. And was to cut back across and then get on a main interstate and go straight up. But you had to leave the coast area and go through Redding, California, and so forth, so on. I'm driving, and of course you got the automatic temperature thing. You just set it, on whatever temperature you want, and that's kind of, so I'm not paying any attention, but I of course have been hanging out on the coast. Like you said, it's 55, 60 degrees. Well, we come back across, and it's July, and I remember we got out of the car in Redding, California, and opened up the door, and I was like, "What happened?" It was over 100 degrees. It's crazy.
It is wild how that happens. So what's next with your dogs?
With my personal dogs,
just in general.
So right now, of course, I'm training one Wildrose dog,
Maximus.
Still young, still young, but gets it, and that's
that dog is sharp. We run that group work the other day. I mean, his lines were good, and the distance he was able to carry the line at that age was super impressive, even into the water. So that was. Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah, he gets it. The only issue I have with him is when other dogs are around right now. He still wants to play, and people are around, he wants to play, which that's just youth.
Yeah. Just like Toby, my youngster, he's 7.5 months old. He melted down during starting your dog with all the other dogs.
Just
you had to go put him on. He was just like, okay, a little overstimulated there, buddy.
That's right. But anytime I'm training a dog, and one of the biggest focuses I have is there's one thing that I feel like I can't do, or maybe I just don't have the patience or the skill set, and that's drive in a dog. Mm-hmm. I've got to have a dog that, I'm not saying they've got to run through a tree, but they've got to have the I want to go. I want to get this retrieve. Yeah. And from there we can figure everything else out.
Yeah. And like Teddy, he's going to run through a wall.
Yeah.
There's just almost 10 years old. Yeah. He's going to do it. And the other dogs, like Ronnie's not as fast as Teddy, but man, the control you have over him. I got really good control over Teddy, but Ronnie is like, you can just pinpoint him. But yeah, I like a dog with a lot of drive, because I'm kind of I've been told I can be a little aggressive sometimes.
That's right.
I've never seen it. But yeah, I like a dog with a lot of drive, but I don't want a robot.
No,
I want a thinking dog.
Yes, I absolutely want a dog. I mean, the perfect dog, right, is whether it's a blind or a mark, point, go.
Yep.
And I don't have to do anything else. Yep. I can turn around and start talking to my buddies. I can start reloading my gun.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about the dog.
Yep.
That is the perfect scenario for me.
Yep.
I'm not going to harp on field trials, but there's a lot of control that goes in on American field trials.
Oh yeah. It's impressive.
And yeah, I mean, the control they have over those dogs, I mean, run out 20 yards, stop it, move it a step or two over and send it again. It's very impressive, but it's just not my style.
Yeah.
I want, because I love to hunt, but I also like to cut up with the guys. I like to, my mind now as a guide, especially, right? Because I have to be watching I'm not nearly as worried about the dogs as I'm worried about
the guns.
Mm-hmm. Right? That's what I'm looking at. So when I send that dog, I want to know that dog's going to go, and I can start watching the other hunters. But yeah, that point and click.
Yep.
Is
so when
nice.
they can take and then carry that line, that's just, you're like, yeah.
Also,
that's my dog.
You know, I think it's underrated. I like that relationship that you build with the dog. And what I mean by that is, you know, we talk about just knowing their mannerisms and the dog knowing your mannerisms. Like, I can't tell you how many times, whether it's Maggie, Harper, have got out there, and Delta was this way. You know, we just built a relationship to where they were going out there, and let's say I stopped them. And just, I don't know what it was I was doing, but they had learned my mannerisms so much, and I had learned their mannerisms. I knew exactly what they were thinking, what they were about to do, and they knew exactly what I was thinking and what I was about to do. And they've just picked up on it. I don't know what it is that I do, but it's like before I was ready to give them a right cast, they were already starting to lean to the right, you know, like that's that mannerism that he has.
Yeah.
And it's just so neat whenever you have that relationship with your dog to where they just, it's, you know, it's kind of like two men can sit in a room and not say a word, but have a complete conversation.
Yeah.
It's kind of that way with your dogs.
Yeah. I call it a very symbiotic relationship where they know your quirks, you know their quirks. You know, like when I had Dixie, I knew exactly when I needed to stop her, you know, and when not to stop her, you know, stuff like that. So it is fun when that dog's about 3 years old and everything is just clicking, you know, it's so much fun. Yeah. It is very rewarding as a trainer handler.
Absolutely. Yes. So, absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want to, any kind of, you want to knowledge bomb us with anything?
Man, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge. If you don't believe me, ask my wife. Yeah, you know, I think it's funny as I train other people's dogs or train a dog and sell it to somebody, they always think that, I mean, and I want them to absolutely call me, but I think it's funny how sometimes they think I have all the answers, as if though I thought up this way of training dogs. And I always tell people, I have no original ideas whatsoever. Like, let me be really clear. Like, I don't sit around and think how to, now, of course, there's a point in which you go, okay, there's an issue. How do I work my way around it? But at the same time, I'm real big on, I'll call you, I'll call Mike, I'll call Jay, I'll call somebody. Yeah. Hey, I got a problem. What is the answer? And I bring that up because there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like to just, we'll figure this out on our own. Yeah. I would, right. And the one time I tried to do that, it took me a little while to correct what I had did wrong. Because I'm the type of guy, once I start digging a hole, I can really do. Yeah. You're better off saying, this ain't working. Well, let me talk to somebody. So I don't really have any original ideas, but I do have a book, Wildrose.
Sporting Dog and Retriever Trained the Wildrose Way.
That's exactly right. And I can read. So,
and videos. No matter,
and that's, I don't care what my wife says, I can read. But yeah, and videos, and pick up the phone and call somebody.
It's funny when you grow up under Mike, he would never give you the answer.
What do you mean?
If you say, I'm having trouble with this, you know, he'd be like, oh, you know, you might want to try a couple of little things here, you know, and he'd put little just tidbits just to get your brain working to help you figure it out, but not tell you, go do this, unless you're in a pretty bad bind. I was doing something one day, and this dog, I was just struggling like for 2 weeks, and I finally went to Mike. He goes, try this. Immediately fixed it. I'm like, oh, Mike Stewart, I'm going to get you one day. So, but, you know, you're talking about somebody who's just natural.
That's what I mean. Like, I have no original, right? So anything unless I do it wrong. If you see me doing something wrong, that's probably from me. But you know, if you see me doing something right, yeah, I probably learned it from Mike or Jay or somebody, you or the book, or heck, I can't. You know, I remember most recently, I had a dog that I was working, and he was phenomenal at quartering and flushing, but man, he just wasn't getting the marking. Every time he would flush, he would turn around and look straight ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, dead straight ahead.
It's be like,
and
what bird?
The birds are all to my left and to my right. And I'm working with Blake, and Blake says, you know, and Blake nailed it right. He goes, I can already tell whenever you're training and you got those dog quartering and then you want to launch them a mark, you're launching it out in front of you. I said, well, yeah. He said, never launch it out in front of you, you know. He said, go left, go right, because all that dog is now tunnel vision on what, you know, it's just little things like that. You don't, but if somebody else can look at it and say, hey, I see exactly what the problem is.
And that's what's great, you know, with having Blake and Ryan and Brian Absolutely. And Will, and we can just brainstorm together, and, you know, everybody's got different ideas. So, all right, let's try this one first. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this one. Oh, boom, this one works.
Yeah,
you know, and then the next time you have that problem with another dog, you're like, let's try this.
Exactly.
Does it always work? No, because they're all different.
And it makes me look so good when someone calls and I have the answer, even though
I know the feeling.
But know this: when I have the answer, I screwed it up first. That's how I got the answer.
I know this because
that's right.
All right, well, let's wrap it up a little bit, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Sorry it took me so long.
Yeah, you know, you're retired, busy. But yeah, it's been great. Like I said, our friendship has just gotten super tight over the last few years.
Yeah, my wife's jealous.
Yeah, I know she is. I think Tina is too. But Nathan had brought up Cato boards earlier. Fantastic product. Jordan Horak owns Cato boards, and we use these all the time for place training. You can find them online at wildrosetradingcompany.com. And we're also there for all your sporting dog needs for training purposes and cool logoed apparel. So we're going to wrap up this episode, and we will see you in the field.